Welcome back, everyone. Yes, the safe space is open for business. Lich is looking for a hug. If anyone wants to give Lich a hug, that would be much appreciated. We've got some ancient woo to go over today. I'm kind of interested in this. How about Noah's Pyramid? What do you think? Well, we'll get into that in just a moment, and more as well. And don't forget, later on today, the Kev Baker Show on Truth Frequency Radio. It's all happening here. Welcome back, everyone. Yes, I want to welcome all of our regular viewers, all of our new viewers tuning into this little impromptu stream. I thought I just had to do. You know what? Oh, hang on now. There's some new tunes kicking in the background. Yeah, we've got new tunes available here on the stream today as well. Big thank you to the audio library over at YouTube. It's the only way to keep yourself safe if you're going to play music on a stream. You're best to go into the people that run the platform and ask them what is copyright safe. I'm telling you, that might result in some of our crazy tunes that people laugh at on the safe space, but that's okay. Because yes, I have got lots for us to get into today, but something I haven't done in too long is run through who's in the chat room. And I was having a good laugh there when we were getting ready to go live because I seen Jason, and I think Jason might be a bit angry at me. The reason Jason might be a bit angry at me is because yesterday I gave away the biggest secret ever. What's that secret I hear you saying? Well, secretly, I'm actually a soy boy. Yes, I am. I truly am. I'm not kidding. I'm a soy boy. And Jason figured it out because I went and told everyone how I get moved by certain movies and certain songs. So I see Jason today. There's going to be no soy hugs in the chat room. So there'll be none of that going on. Absolutely none of that stuff going on in the chat room. Jason, I'm just picking on you, bro. And you know, when I pick on somebody, that means I hold them very, very close to me indeed. So a big shout out to Jason, to Gordon. Shall we shove on some tunes? New tunes. We've got Gordon in there. Brian, good to see you. There's Tinker. There's Roseanne. Mannerus. Queen Goddess. Let's see now. We have got Donita in the Redwoods. Good morning from California. Wow. Good evening from a very cold and wet and windy Scotland. You know, those redwoods in California, that's definitely something on the bucket list, right? That is just majestic. It truly is. So we've got John in there. A big oi to you as well. John Ferreira. I like that, man. We've got Pedro. Yes, indeed. Pyramid Fire in the middle. I love how people are able to break down words like that. You know, the true meanings of words. Really interesting. Who else we got kicking about in here? Blue Days. Blue, you are a machine. Have you not only just given birth to a baby and you're already back in the safe space? Now that's what I call dedication. Not only that, but she was first in the safe space today. And if people have forgotten, think I've forgotten about, you know, this whole first in the chat room thing, I haven't. Oh, no. I've got a little document. I put a little check mark beside the names of the people that get in here first. And at some point, we'll decide what to do with that. Maybe somebody will get their own emoji like ZX81 did. Who knows? But we've also got Lich in there as well. Now, on yesterday's stream, you might have noticed what appears to be a different type of super chat. Now, what Lich does, and I really appreciate this, is what Lich does to do a super chat is go to the Streamlabs link down below, and that gives you another option to do a super chat that will come on the screen. Brian will read it out, and it basically just cuts out the middleman. What happens is I usually have to wait till the end of the month so everything comes in from Google, but Streamlabs, and if you're going to be a streamer, Streamlabs is the way to go, folks. It's got its own super chat function. That's not a hint to be super chatting. It's just I know some people had said, why did that super chat look different than the other ones? So that's why it was, ladies and gentlemen. So who else do we have in here? What's up, brother? That's from Vardon Guerrero. Mojo is kicking about in there. We have got Rorschach. Mad. I like that. Tony Phillips. How you doing, brother? Brett. Big shout out to you. ZX is in there. See? Natalie. Big shout out to Natalie Remington. Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to this show as well, but it's not really a show during the day. It's more me chilling out with you great people, you know? Catching up on some really interesting stuff I came across today. We're going to get there in just a moment, folks. Billy Joe, big shout out to you as well. And I try to send people personal links to the show because I know some people don't get the notifications. So if you need me to reach out and tell you when something's coming on, let me know. And I'll try my best to add you to what is an ever-growing list of people that don't get notifications, okay? Best way to get notified is head on into our Discord group. It's absolutely free. I'm sometimes there, but it's not about me. It's about everyone coming together. There's over 100 people in there sharing links, sharing information, sharing jokes. And when I go in, it's so beautiful because it's almost like I can cherry pick stuff and build shows out of it. You don't know how valuable that is. Just because you don't always see me typing in there does not mean that I am not watching what's going on. I'm lurking on my own Discord server. Can you believe it? I know, weird days. We've got Onslow in there. How you doing, Onslow? Cool name. Jose Ramon Francis. Come on, folks. We need more people in green here. We really do. We need new members. We want to get to 150 members, right? So we can unlock a new emoji. Come on, we need to do it. Surely we can do it. Together we can do it, right? More new music. What's that all about? Yes, indeed. Things are getting strange on the safe space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the chat room as we discuss some of these topics. Because, hey, Leslie, Lindsay. In fact, it's Lindsay, sorry, not Leslie. We've got Matrix as well. Oh, everyone's very welcome here, Lindsay. This is one of the most sociable chat rooms on a live stream that you'll come across. And listen, I'm not just saying that because it's on my channel. I'm saying that because I've got eyes. I can look at what goes on in there. And I also go to many other live streams. I watch a lot of YouTube, obviously. Now, I tend not to participate in the chat rooms for one simple reason. If I'm tuning into a live stream, it's usually because I want to hear what's on the stream and the information. And I'm one of these people, I can get really distracted by the chat room. And maybe I'll sit through a 2-hour stream and I have to laugh to myself and think, dang, I'm going to have to go back and listen to that again. Because you just get too engrossed in the chat, and that's why sometimes I just don't bother with it. The people in our chat, I don't know, yous are a different kind of breed altogether in a good way. So yeah, today got up, started doing some reading, and in recent times we've been talking a lot about the ancient world and cycles. It's not been deliberate, it's just that way the Kev Baker show works. We just follow the gut. We come across stories, and if they fit, maybe they kind of fall into a pattern that I'm noticing. But in recent times, it really is. We've been talking a lot about the ancient world, and I love it. I'm personally interested in all that kind of hidden ancient history, and more recent hidden history as well. And we've had Max from Germany really come on and raise the bar, in my opinion, when it comes to all of this stuff from various cultures and civilizations and times, you know, around the world. And he's really put together a really, really good picture of some of the things that were going on. Say some of the things because truly I don't believe we'll ever know exactly what went on in our past. From stuff being occulted from us, hidden away, stuff being lost over the ages. I just don't think we're going to ever have that perfect picture of just what was going on. But the ancient pyramids in Egypt, wow, they always just leave me kind of awestruck. Anytime I even just see a picture of them, they're just truly amazing. And the imagination sparks off. And I've often had the inclination that as opposed to more of a monument, it's more mechanical, more of a machine. And many people think that same way. And it's a good hypothesis to have. But I also like hearing new hypotheses, new ideas, especially when they're kind of backed up. I say kind of backed up by evidence. And today I came across a new hypothesis for me, anyway, when it comes to the pyramids. And perhaps over the course of the 6 years that I've been doing the show, maybe somebody has said this on the show before, but I don't recollect it right away. It's certainly not something that sticks in my mind. But what if I was to tell you, what if I was to kind of suggest to you that when it comes to the pyramids, we could be looking at something entirely different altogether. Now, I want you just to go with this, and I want you to take a look at the research that another YouTuber has done on this actual kind of topic. And what if I was to tell you that somebody out there is making the claim that the ancient pyramids in Egypt are in fact connected to Noah's Ark? Yes, indeed. Now, like I say, keep an open mind. Let's take a look at what they're going to say about this. Then we'll come back and we'll have a talk about it, right? I like new theories. I like new ideas. And this one, yeah, this is a bit of a doozy. Check this out. Now wait till I fix the chat here. Get that down there. Yes, indeed. And listen, folks, I'll bring this up briefly on the Kev Baker show later today. Just for anyone who hasn't caught this earlier stream. And I'll be opening the phones up, as we often do now. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this kind of thing. One thing saying it in the chat room, but I'm very willing to have you come on the show. I'll open up the phones, and you people out there, you have your say on this. And remember, this isn't my theory, so I've got nothing invested in this. If you do or don't believe in this, I don't know if I believe in this yet, okay? But I think it's interesting enough, especially with all the ancient talk that we've been having lately. So it says, Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza may have been a metaphorical object used to shield civilization from the Great Flood narrative told in the story of Noah's Ark, a historian has suggested. Now, I'm going to play this little clip here. It comes from a YouTube channel called Ancient Artifacts. And, Ancient Architects. My bad. I'm just going to play this here. Here we go.
Were discovered by a Bedouin shepherd more than 50 years ago in the Qumran caves.
Okay, he's talking about the Sumerian scroll. Sorry. Here we go. Hang on.
The Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered by a Bedouin shepherd more than 50 years ago in the Qumran caves in the Judean desert of the West Bank near the Dead Sea. The find contained around 800 manuscripts. They are thought to be around 2,000 years old and contain a range of biblical and non-biblical stories, offering experts a glimpse into the past, and they shed new light on Abrahamic religions. Some have called it the greatest archaeological discovery of the 20th century. So how did the experts discover the revelation of a pyramid-shaped ark? Well, scientists working on the Leon Levy Dead Sea Scrolls digital library project scanned tens of thousands of fragments of the scrolls with a custom-made camera that used different wavelengths of light at 28 times higher resolution than standard scans. Previously, illegible words could now be read. Before then, regarding the story of Noah's Ark, scholars had been unable to read a particular word that followed the Hebrew phrase the ark's tallness, but the new scans revealed the word was the one shown on the screen. The translation of this word from Hebrew to English means gathered, which Dr. Alexei Yuditsky from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem says means that the ark's ribs were gathered at the top to form a shape of a pyramid.
So, there you go. I'll just read through this quickly. In the Bible, Noah's Ark is the vessel used in the Genesis flood story through which God spares Noah, his family, and a selection of the world's animals from a world-ending disaster. Now, that for me has always held practical problems, okay? And it sounds really kind of childish and things, but I often say to Joe Joseph, how on earth's name did Noah get 2 kangaroos into his ark? You know, how did he maybe get African elephants in there and things like that? I personally, and it's just my own opinion, I personally think we're talking about something technological there. Perhaps the gathering of 2 by 2, it would have been, you know, genetics. It would have been DNA, chromosomes, that kind of thing. That's always just been my hypothesis, and I know a lot of people may share that. They may absolutely hate me for it. I'm only being honest. Doesn't mean I'm right. It just, I don't know, it's just a bit more... Hey, we have got a new member. Oh, that is awesome. Thank you so much, Polly. Polly, that means you can now use all of our glorious emojis that we have here on the channel. And you get the Sunday members only stream as well. So thank you so much from me and the rest of the members. Because you see, the rest of the members, they're choking to get over this 150 member mark as well, so that we can get that new emoji. And I think we'll have to discuss that on Sunday on the members stream. But getting back to this, it says, until modern times, most Christians assumed that the story referred to an actual worldwide event that happened in the relatively recent past. But modern science has suggested there has never been a global flood of this kind. Instead, historian Matthew Simpson has put forward a theory that the story actually retold a great flood in the Middle East, where Egypt's high rankers used the Great Pyramid of Giza to shield from disaster. Mr. Simpson's theory is based on a bombshell discovery in 2016, and he revealed on his YouTube channel, Ancient Architects. Now, he said last week the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered by Bedouin shepherds more than 50 years ago in the Qumran caves in the Judean desert of the West Bank near the Dead Sea. Now, the find contained around 800 manuscripts, thought to be around 2,000 years old, and contain a range of biblical and non-biblical stories, offering experts a glimpse into the past. And some have called it the greatest archaeological discovery of the 20th century. But scientists working at the Leon Levy Dead Sea Scrolls Library project scanned tens of thousands of fragments of scrolls with a custom-made camera that used different wavelengths of light at 28 times higher resolution than standard scans. It goes on to say, quote, previously ineligible words could now be read. Before then, regarding the story of Noah's Ark, scholars had been unable to read a particular word following the Hebrew phrase, the ark's tallness. But new scans revealed the word ne'esaphat. The translation of this word from Hebrew to English means gathered, which David Alexei Yuditsky from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem says means that the ark's ribs were gathered at the top to form the shape of a pyramid. But there is more evidence of the ark being described as a pyramid, Mr. Simpson revealed. And he added, according to Dr. Yuditsky, the Septuagint, I don't know, a Greek translation of the Old Testament, which dates back to the 3rd century BC, also describes the ark as pyramid-shaped using a Greek verb that also has a similar meaning to gathered. So like I say, this is a new theory, and it's all kind of been based on this one word that they've now uncovered, gathered. Now, me personally, I don't know enough about Hebrew, the language, the translations, anything like that, to make the leap from something being gathered into that reading that it actually means it was pyramid shaped. So I don't know if this is conclusive kind of evidence or if it's a solid theory that we can go with. I just thought it was really interesting because, again, there's so much we think we do know about the past, and there's so much that the world of academia will definitely tell us that they know about the past. But in reality, how much do we actually know? And this has been troubling me for some time now, and it's been going on for a little while. On-air, off-air conversations, all of them coming back to the same thing. What is our true history? What are these monuments all about? What is that deeper, hidden meaning, if there is any? And it's something we're going to continue to look at here on the channel, especially towards the end of the month. 8 days from now, we're going to be joined by Bruce Fenton. Yes, I got his name right this time. Bruce Fenton's going to be joining us to talk about his own theory that us, humans, mankind, womankind, it-kind, whatever you call it nowadays, as opposed to the theory of us coming out of Africa, he's got another idea altogether. And for some reason, it resonates with me. And that is that forget Africa, think Australia. So that's going to be coming up towards the end of the month. I'm going to be hooking up with Max again, Max from Germany, hopefully, to go over some stuff, maybe if there's anything he hasn't wrapped up. Because I can imagine what I know about Max, he's probably already down another rabbit hole. He's probably already looking at more stuff, making more connections. And that's why I'm definitely looking forward to continuing my work with Max. So I'm going to come into the chat room. I'm going to see what you people are saying about this whole pyramid theory that has been put forward by another YouTuber. And like I say, it's not just as if he's come up with this himself. It is evidence-based. It's that one word, that gathering. Does that mean literally that it was a pyramid? It came to a point, an apex? Could it be the pyramids of Giza? I honestly don't know. But I think it's really interesting for us to talk about. And yeah, let me shove on some music. And then I'll let the chat catch up because there's about a minute's delay now. It's really long, the delay. So I'll put some music on. I'll get a drink of my coffee. And we'll come back and I'll see what all you great people have been saying about the pyramids. I'm going to put some traffic cones in the chat room. And that will be like a mark for me to know the comments that have come after that, okay? How's that sound to all of you? Does that sound good? And then I've got more news because things are getting weird in the world, folks. Really, really weird. And again, I think there's a need for us to know more about our ancient past to make sense of what's going on right now. I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds a bit out there. That's what you get here on the Kev Baker Show. I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm going to show you the stuff I'm looking at, and hopefully that will give you something to think about. So I'll let I'll let the chat catch up, and we'll be right back in a moment. Is that Jimmy Jeans kicking about in the chat room? Hey, Jimmy, good to see you, man. I'll be safe spacing tomorrow, dude, if you want to jump on with me. No problem. And just when you thought my music couldn't get any worse, I know, I had to play that one. I'm going to trigger Joe Joseph with that one at the weekend. I really am. But let me get back into the chat room. What are you people saying in here? Okay, let me find my traffic cones. Okay, let's see. Ben says, so the question is, built by faithful angels or unfaithful, and why? Jimmy's going good so far. What else we got in here? Shell Destroyer says, I can't imagine a pyramid that will float. I don't think that was what it was suggesting. It was suggesting that as opposed to an ark that floats, a boat, it was just somewhere to take shelter. Somewhere that they could go inside. Somewhere to get away from rising waters. That's what I read into it. I don't think they were intimating that the ark itself was a pyramid floating about, but I don't know. Again, I just don't know. So Carol says, I don't like forming a whole theory on one word's new translation. Well, I absolutely get you there. I totally get you. But a lot of the stuff that we think we know about in the Bible and other ancient religious texts, religious books, they're based on people's interpretations of words that have come in the past. So I agree with you, Carol. I do agree with you. It's not really a solid theory to base something on somebody's translation of a word or a set of words. That's why I keep an open mind when it comes to all of these religious texts, and I'll be willing to look at all of them. I don't get offended by the fact there's people with other belief systems out there. In fact, I think the world's far better off that we don't all think the same. We're not all like cookie cutters, you know. We think different things. We have other ideas. Now, whether this one word, like Carol says, is enough to form a new theory, I'm with her on that. I don't know. But at the same time, I always like to hear new ideas, new hypotheses, because if even we don't go along with the thinking that it is the Ark and Noah connected somehow, but which I myself, I do find a bit of a stretch, what it does do is it gives us the opportunity to talk about it and maybe think about it in a different way, from a different angle, maybe something we haven't heard before. And that's why I always think it's still good to throw in these new hypotheses, these new ideas. Sometimes it shakes up all of the information that's been there before. And again, if we can look at something in a different light, I think that's going to be good. So let's move on. We've got Brian says, built by God, fought over for millennia. And then we've got Naysay in the chat. Kev saying, in the Ohio River Valley, the largest earthen pyramid exists in North America. That's the thing, all these pyramids all over the world. It's there's something more to these pyramids that we just haven't put our finger on yet. And Ben says he leans towards the unfaithful angels, i.e. demons option. Mannerist says, I lean towards being ready to be surprised. Northern Thrifter says, Noah was on the Titanic. And Ben comes back, or did they fall to Earth? And then Elizabeth says, I totally believe Enoch built the pyramid, for sure. Mr. Niter, God bless the Republic. ZX, the pyramids. Oh, where are we there now? Where did that jump to? Where did that jump to? I'll find it. I'll find it. A lot of people talking in here. Dang. Where did that go? Now, ZX81's talking about the Black Knight satellite. All I would say about the Black Knight satellite is go and listen to the full show that I done with Duncan Lunan. And Duncan Lunan, a really interesting character. He's the actual guy that was credited for decoding the message of the dark satellite. Or sorry, the Black Knight satellite. And that's only half the story. Because most people that have used Duncan's work, they neglected to include all of his work. And the unfortunate part about all of his work, if you're from a conspiratorial mindset, is that he himself actually debunks himself and the message he got. But it gets even more interesting when you look into it. And again, you'd have to listen to the full show I done with Duncan. Maybe I'll re-upload it, because it was a really interesting show and we lost it when I lost all the videos on the channel. But the Black Knight satellite, wow, that's good woo. It is super woo. It really, really is. Now, I need to find out where I was. There we are, ZX. The pyramids are more like energy collectors, distributors, than area to store every animal. It's quite cramped in there. Yeah, it's more like a machine. It's definitely more like a machine when you go inside that Great Pyramid. I definitely agree with you there, ZX. Are we right, though? Who knows? That's the thing. Brian says, unfaithful angels and demons, two separate buildings. We've also got Queen saying it also depends on if you believe in the Bible. Absolutely. You know, I suppose people, if you wanted to put me into a pigeonhole, you would put me as Christian, right? However, I'm the first to admit, I know very little about the actual Bible. And again, it's because I've got a problem, like I was saying earlier, Carol brought up, with people's translations. And I don't know, there's something puts me off when I find out that the good book was edited and republished by, you know, the King James version, that kind of thing. That suggests to me that there might be bits hidden, there might be bits inserted, and if that's the case and we don't know which is which, that's why for me, I choose to, you know, have my relationship with what I believe in here. I don't need a book. If we were meant to have a book, I honestly think we would all be issued it at birth, or it would all already be in our head. But that's just my opinion. Robert says, cool topic. Thank you. It's just, I found it quite cool when I read it today. Like I say, if I had to choose, I'd probably say I don't think it's actually a thing, Noah and the pyramid being connected. But again, it's all good woo, right? Jimmy's going to be here tomorrow. We've got Natalie saying in South Africa they have found mines beneath the modern mines. These older mines are more technologically sophisticated than anything we can do currently. Oh, Natalie. Now, Natalie, if you can send me any information on that, I would happily do a show on that. Because that kind of ties in with the kind of stuff that Max Egan talks about. You know, the mud floods, these kind of cataclysms that come, and then one layer's built upon another layer, and it's entirely feasible that beneath the mines that we have been doing today in modern times, there are other mines lower down than that. Because remember, you know, it might have been, how to put this, over the ages, over these cataclysms, over these resets, you know, you'd get layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. Now, that means anything that was done way, 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 way back, another cycle in the past by another people who may have been technologically advanced, it's going to be under all the layers, right? So I'm very open to that. I'd love to see more about that. Email me, kbsdiscord@protonmail.com. That's kbsdiscord@protonmail.com. We're all up to date with the invites. So if you want to get into the Discord, email me there. And I'm sure one of the mods will drop that email address for you as well. What else do we have here? Tori said, no more says, Kev, we're on the same wavelength. This one, I mentioned this before you. Again, I don't know if I'm totally on board with this yet, but I find it interesting. And definitely, because we know so little, I'm willing to go down many's a rabbit hole. Some of them will be good. Some of them will take us nowhere. We'll go round in loops and we'll think we're getting somewhere, and then something will come along and nope, not this rabbit hole. And then we go down another one. So yeah, we've got John saying the fallen angels, the Watchers, built them, and Enoch interceded for their transgressions. Mannerus, he's talking to Jimmy. Brian says many types of angels, good and evil. Shield Destroyer. Oh, okay. Now that's more feasible. I can't remember what Shield Destroyer said before. Oh, it was about the floating pyramid. I get you. I get you. And I wasn't correcting you, brother. I wasn't correcting you. I was just telling you how I kind of read it. That's all. Coming soon, beachfront property in Phoenix. You know, the way the world's going this year, who knows? Revelation odd nonsense. And Geraldine says, the slaves constantly digging for gold. It wasn't just for jewellery, it was for some kind of conductor. As how did they have hot water for baths and the things like computers that they found? Now, I'd be interested to see the computers that they found. I know there's an object that Graham Hancock talks about. Begins with an A. Oh, something device. Oh, can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I'll try and remember that for the end of the thing, though. But I'd love to see more of these kind of potential high technology kind of finds and stuff like that. Some of them you can rule out right away. You can tell people are at it. But then there's other things you look at. And again, we might not be able to recognize technology that they had. That sounds weird, right? How could we not recognize it? Well, because it might have been tapping into other things like earth energy, the ether, you know, the free energy that is all around this planet, and in my opinion, all throughout the universe. So would we necessarily recognize that? Like something like an obelisk. Something like an obelisk could be high technology if it's used, or if it's using energies that maybe we aren't using today, something we haven't thought of. I've often looked at them as either being transmitters or receivers of the type of Tesla electricity that we hear about. Doesn't mean I'm right. I'll never be able to prove it. But yeah, would we recognize their high technology? Same as if you brought one of them into our time and showed them a laptop. It'd make absolutely no sense to them. They wouldn't know what they're looking at. And perhaps we don't know what we're looking at in the past either. What else we got in here? So then, I'm going to move on now. I'm going to move on because we've got other stories. And I've got another stream to do tonight. We'll be opening up the phones and things like that. Okay, but I'm going to go over this tonight on the show. Ancient Origins. And this talks about how the Great Pyramid at Giza and Noah's Ark. Now, are we coming closer to an understanding of the ancient mind? Now, I don't think this connects to the two, as in Noah's Ark is the pyramid, and pyramid is Noah's Ark. But it's about those ancient times, maybe the way their mind worked, as opposed to ours today. And if we can't understand how they looked at the world, what their thinking was, then it's going to be even harder for us to try and piece together the puzzle that is mankind's story, you know? I'll be going over that tonight on the show, okay? So Noah came up earlier on, and then with Noah coming up, I found another link on the Express, and this touches on something that we've been talking about on the show before, and we're talking about floods and things like that, one of these resets in the past. And of course, we're warned about plagues of locusts when we're approaching the end of days, right? Well, this plague of locusts that myself and Joe and Scott have spoke about a couple of times now, it ain't going away, and in fact, it's getting a whole heap worse. And of course, that is leading to people coming up with theories that the end is nigh. Yes, indeed. Maybe even the second coming of somebody very important could be heralded by what's going on in the world right now. I close this down here. Storm Ellen warning. Dang, we're getting another storm coming in. Intense North Atlantic cyclone forming. I know you can't see that on the screen there, but that was the breaking news. So it says here, end of the world, ooga booga. So we've got the COVID-19 panic and African locust plague spark Bible apocalypse fears. Now, if we go down here, says here, the deadly disease has now claimed the lives of more than 1,300 people in China and is threatening to become a global pandemic. Now, while conflict in Iran and the African locust invasion have the Middle East on high alert, But biblical scholar Melvin Sandelin has urged viewers on his Christian Life YouTube channel not to fear, claiming it is part of the process of the return of Jesus Christ. Now, Mr. Sandelin widely suggested that the virus is just one of the examples that the end times prophecy is being fulfilled, and he's not alone in his thinking. So he said last week, we know that the end results of the Bible prophecies is that the world is going to come to an end when Jesus comes back. Now, as we see these signs increase, we know that we are getting closer to that moment. But notice that one of the signs that Jesus gives us for the end of the world is in Matthew 23, verses 6 and 7. And the gospel passage reads, "And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled. These things must come to pass, but in the end is not yet. But the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there will be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in various places." Now, Mr. Sandelin added 2,000 years ago, Jesus made the prediction that in the time before he would come back, the world would not be free from diseases and outbreaks. And despite the modern efforts being made by the medical world, new diseases and outbreaks are still taking place. Now, I don't know if this here is going to, if what we're seeing going on in the world right now is actually going to result in the return of Jesus. However, when we look at these locusts, check this out. Book of Revelation, apocalypse seal broken after the swarm has reached China. Let's just think about that, okay? It's one thing talking about the locusts in Africa and everything, but now we're hearing that the locusts have made it to China. So it says down here, the final book of the New Testament, 7 trumpets are sounded, one at a time, to cue apocalyptic events seen by John of Patmos in his vision. And according to Revelations 8:1-2, the angels sound these trumpets after the breaking of the 7th seal, which secured the scroll of the apocalypse, marking the second coming of Christ. Now, the 5th of these trumpets is said to be a swarm of locusts sent to torment anyone who does not have the approval of God. And now, horrifying video footage shows the moment a large swarm of locusts filled the skies in Xinjiang, China, part of a plague that has already ravaged millions of acres of crops across Kenya, Somalia, and Ethiopia. The paranormal investigator, Kieran Oki, questioned on his YouTube channel, is this the biblical end of times? And during a press conference in Nairobi, attendees had to reassure the public that this was not the case. But what are the signs that we are seeing? So I don't know, folks, but a plague of locusts turning up now in China. I mean, I've heard of these things in the Middle East before and stuff like that, but in China, with everything that's going on right now, as if they have their problems to seek, but they're now getting invaded by locusts. And if that wasn't bad enough, and talk about a synchronicity, you've got all this locusty type craziness going on in the world. And at the same time, check this out. Couldn't make this stuff up, folks. Because the military owned cyborg locusts. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, before I read out any of this, we've got a plague of locusts going around the planet, or at least Africa, 3 countries we heard of there, the Middle East, now in China. And we're finding out, it says here on the 20th of February, it's obviously a website that's in Australia, it's based there, or at least across the dateline. They're not writing this in the future, folks. But we're now finding out the military has super creepy locusts. Hang on, come on. What's this all about? Cyborg locusts. A great name for a band, an intriguing plot for a movie. A scary thing to find out your military has developed. Yes, they claim it's for bomb sniffing. Just like gunpowder was originally developed for medicinal purposes, what could possibly go wrong? So it says here, quote, finally, we've developed a minimally invasive surgical approach and mobile multi-unit electrophysiological recording system to tap into the neural signals in a locust brain and realize a biorobotic explosive sensing system. In sum, our study provides the first demonstration of how biological olfactory systems, that's sensors and computations, can be hijacked to develop a cyborg chemical sensing approach. Hijacked to develop a cyborg chemical sensing approach means the brains of locusts, made famous by so many plagues, are connected via electrodes in their brain to tiny packs on their backs, which transmit sensory images picked up by the locust's antenna and send them to a computer, which monitors the signals and sees when the grasshoppers detect the vapors of one of many different explosives. A process that takes a mere few hundred milliseconds, thanks to 50,000 olfactory neurons in these sensitive antenna. Yeah, so I'll drop a link for that full story in the chat room. I don't know. But I find it weird, you know? A little bit weird. Let's see now. Somebody saying Clyde Lewis talked about it in his last blog. Nancy Jones, a meteor crater in Arizona. I'll need to check that one out. Northern Arizona, probably around Flagstaff, where a big one hit. Wow. See? You see, I'm missing all this good stuff in the chat room. But what if I was to tell you the locusts and plagues of them hitting China, not the craziest grasshopper story? What if I was to tell you this one here? The locust, the cyborg locust story is not the craziest locust story I've got for you today. Would you believe me? Would you believe me if I told you that? That these two stories alone, it's nothing compared to the next one I've found. So they're training locusts to sniff things, and at the same time, get ready, folks. I hope you're not about to eat your dinner, because cricket burgers are a surprise hit in New York City. Nothing looks more appetizing than a bunch of deep-fried crickets on your Mexican roll, right? It says here, normally, making me feel sick already. Normally, bugs in restaurant kitchen generate calls to the health department, but at Anteheria, I think La Popular, a regional Mexican restaurant in Soho, six-legged critters get growling crowds of customers to whip out their cell phones and take pictures of dinner. They want Instagram shots to show them enjoying New York's burgeoning food craze, a grass whopper, a burger-style treat made in pan-fried crickets. And it says it's ridiculous, gushes the restaurant's director of operations, Marco Shalma. People are coming from everywhere to try it. When the creepy sounding sandwich was introduced last week, the restaurant sold about 20 a day. Now, he says as many as 100 people a day are devouring locusts for their dinner. Dang, dude. I don't care how hungry I get. I ain't going down that road. So you've got plagues of locusts. You've got people saying it's going to lead to the end of the world. You've got the military cyborg locusts. And now we found a really kind of cool way of maybe combating all of these locusts. What are we going to do? We're going to bloody eat them. I don't fancy a grass Whopper burger. No, definitely not. Anyone that's chowing down on that, honestly, I hope people are just going in to take a picture of it to put on Instagram to make it look like they're eating it. But really, in reality, surely they're not eating it, right? But then again, in recent times, tell me that some of these more far out, way out kind of save the planet type people, tell me they wouldn't munch down on this. You know they would. I can imagine.
How dare you?
Probably has one of these breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, to save the planet, after all. You know, the locusts, there's plagues of them everywhere. Have you not noticed? We need to do something about that, right? I honestly don't know what's going on in the world anymore, folks. But I'm going to come back. I'm going to get your thoughts from the chat room before I wrap this up and I get ready for tonight's Kev Baker show. Or is it your Kev Baker show? I think it is your show tonight. Because I'm opening up the phones and you can talk about whatever you want. Don't expect to come on and have an argument with me, because remember, I'm the guy that knows nothing. I'm just the guy that thinks aloud and encourages you to think for yourself. I'm going to put on some new tunes and we'll be back in 60 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Somebody asking, what do you wash down your grass whopper with? Me personally, I prefer fly lava, you know, something like that. ZX81, you are perfectly right there, dude. I've seen that. Various studies where plants literally scream when you bring a flame near to them, or anything that you would think, you know, would be harmful to you. You wouldn't want it near you. Well, guess what? Plants have feelings too. Greg, don't remind me of that. We are already eating so many insects that we don't know about. You know, when you go to bed at night, that ear hole of yours, that nostril of yours, that's a real attractive place for some of these creepy crawlies. Not that I want to make you like creeped out or anything. Okay, folks, okay, here we go. We're back. One more story I want to bring you before I jump into the chat room for 5-10 minutes before I go away today. And it comes from Alaska. Now, I remember somebody posting this either into Discord or they sent me on Facebook. I can't remember who it was, but if you know it's you, a big shout out to you, and you can remind us. But how about this here? You know, with all of these end times things happening, all these trumpets that we're talking about, is there actually trumpet noises been heard? Maybe. I say maybe because I don't know if there is or not. But it says here, around 5 a.m. Monday, A loud sound moved through parts of Anchorage. It came in bursts, getting louder, then evaporating. It was heard from Midtown to West Anchorage, from Spenard to the old Stewart Highway. Some heard it once, others repeatedly, for hours. People miles apart reported the tone abruptly waking them up. It's almost like a foghorn and screeching metal on metal, said Jamie James, who heard the sound as she was getting ready for her work in her home near Lake Spenard, or Spenard, depending how you pronounce that. Because every time I tell somebody about it, I say it sounds like a submarine scraping the bottom of a pool or something, said Melissa Thompson, who went outside to record the sound. Now, I would say it sounded like underwater moaning, said Stephanie Quinn Davidson, who lives near Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport and has heard the sound multiple times over the years. Now, not sure if this has the sound in it. It's got a video up the top. I think we're going to listen. We'll take a listen to this video up the top. We'll see what they say in there. Hopefully they'll have the sound for us, okay? I like these mystery sounds. They've been doing the rounds for a while. And let me just state right here on the record that when we first started hearing these mystery sounds, it was a phenomenon that we couldn't put our finger on. And then inevitably, the internet, the way the internet is, you had people then making up fake ones. They would take the audio and they would go outside and film it. And when you looked at the actual audio files, you could tell it's exactly the same audio they'd used. So I'm open-minded when it comes to these noises, but some of them are just totally inexplicable. They're just beyond comprehension. Take a listen to this. And this is the first time I'm seeing this as well, so we're watching this together, folks. If it plays, if it plays. If not, I'll just have to go and find it somewhere else. You know I'll find it. Do play. It's not going to play, is it? Alright, and so we'll come back here. We'll see if we can find it. 5 days ago. Let's see, yes. Many strange sounds from the sky baffle Anchorage. Please let me. Here it is. Anchorage recording 1. Here we go. This will be it here, okay? That down.
That is so fucking creepy.
I mean, I get now Alaska, it's going to be pretty much dark most of the day up there this time of year, right? Some parts of it. Not sure what time in the morning, but it looks like somebody's gone out in the middle of the night here because they've obviously been woken up by this, you know? That's what it looks like to me. Sounds like something. It sounds like metal or something grinding or grating or weird. Let's check the other ones because that's not really without other noise disturbances. Okay, and here we go. Wow. Now then, it says here, I'm an audio engineer that also specializes in audio forensics. And I've isolated and cleaned the sound from the video of something that was heard in Anchorage at 5 a.m. on February the 8th, 2020. I have my own ideas about the source, but here it is for you to speculate on. There are 6 times it sounds, and the image shows how the computer analysed the harmonic content. The high note is a G, and the low note is a C hash mark. Don't know what that means. And that interval is a tritone, also known as the devil's interval, largely for its creepiness it invokes. It's thanks to Melissa Thompson for these sounds. I find it quite interesting it was reported by multiple people. It doesn't mean that they haven't all got together and made something up, but I don't know. When I came across this one, and there's even a website, Strange Sounds, Amazing Phenomena Around the World. I think we'll bookmark that, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at that at some other point. You can just see my mouse moving there, but I was dropping that in a folder. I don't know why the folder didn't come up on the screen, but yeah, weird. I just thought maybe, when I had read out about the trumpets, in my mind I knew somebody had sent me one of these sky trumpet videos, and yeah, that's interesting. Now what I'm going to do is I'll come into the chat room, I'll chill out with you people in the chat. You can give me what you're thinking about, what I've spoke about. Might not even have to be what I've spoke about. I've seen somebody saying that they've got a bat flying about in their house in Belfast. What the hell's that all about? As long as it didn't come from a cave over in Yunnan in China, I think we're going to be all right with that bat, my friend. I think, but don't quote me on that. I am neither a bat professional nor a medical professional, so I'm totally unqualified to really put your fears to bed there. But yeah, we'll come back, we'll look at the chat room, see what's going on, and then I'll get out of here and we'll get ready for your phone-in tonight on the Kev Baker Show. I tell you, it's all going on here. Spooky Andy. I'm getting fed up with you solving everything, Andy. He says he knows exactly what it is. It's a whale farting while moving on a metal table across cement. Of course it is, Andy. Why couldn't you have told me that yesterday? I love you, bro. Tessa talking about somebody blowing horns in the pyramid in Alaska. I've heard Linda Moulton Howe talking about pyramids in Alaska. I'll need to check that out. They're everywhere else. Why not in Alaska, right? Ah, yes. There we go. And I've got one more sound for you today. I forgot about it. One more sound. Hang on. And this time we go right the way to the South Pole, all the way to Antarctica. We have got Antarctic Antics. Yes, I just remembered I put that in the title. So what on earth's name is going on in Antarctica? I hear you all asking. Well, here, and again, that breaking news on my screen, I can see just below there, it says, Storm Ellen warning. Intense North Atlantic cyclone is forming. We have been battered by storms in the UK the past couple of weeks. Just saying. Check this out. Scientists drop ice down a borehole in Antarctica. And what happened next is incredible. Take a listen to this, folks. This is super weird. And another one just to make sure. Ready? Yes, indeed. And somebody talking about HARP in the chat room. Wasn't sold to China. I think the University of Anchorage. I think they're the current owners or residers at Gacona, Alaska, where they've got the ionospheric heater. And yes, there's many of these things around the world. Used to talk about them all the time, so we did. But that noise there, isn't that weird? All these people living in Inner Earth, are they shooting at it with like phasers? Sounds like some kind of Star Wars battle going on. Ding ding. Now, folks, before you think I'm losing my mind, I'm not telling you there's actually people shooting at these things they're dropping down there. I tell you what, that acoustical effect, something else, right? It's pretty cool. And it says here, Antarctica may be the perfect place for glaciologists to study Earth's ancient climates. But there's not much else there in terms of entertainment. That was until scientists discovered dropping thick chunks of ice down borehole shafts in the Antarctic ice shelf produces rather unexpected sound effects. Methinks they have too much time on their hands. About 2 years ago, glaciologist Peter Neff from the University of Rochester, hey, that's near the Rochester Institute of Technology, where Brendan comes from. Big shout out to Brendan. Dropped a piece of ice down a 295-foot long, 90-meter borehole. The scientists filmed the seemingly innocuous act, creating in the process a fascinating time killer that geologists are still being entertained by today. And at the time, Dr. Rochester tweeted, "Sound on. When hashtag science is done, it's fun to drop ice down a 90-meter borehole in the Antarctic glacier. So satisfying when it hits the bottom. Happy hump day." I hope there's nothing at the bottom down there to get hit on the head by these ice things. And when it comes to Antarctica, these noises are probably the least mysterious thing about. One of the littlest known about pieces of real estate on the planet. Really, really baffling what's going on down there. Spoke to a couple of people that have been down there. Brad Olson, big shout out to Brad. I think he's going to try and go back down to Antarctica. And also Brian Keating, who was the man in charge or part of the BICEP telescope that thought they were on the verge of winning the Nobel Prize, only for Brian to discover that confirmation bias had skewed the results of what would have been a Nobel-winning experiment. I've done a couple of shows with Brian Keating. Really, really great guy. Really interesting and really fun to talk to as well. And yeah, he's one of the people that's been down to Antarctica that I've spoke with. I don't know, that's a bit of the Kev Baker Show claim to fame. The fact that we've actually had two people that have set foot on that most remote piece of real estate. And who knows what's going on there. I know there's a lot of people look over the Google Earth of Antarctica and they find really strange things and stuff like that. You know, I think if you look at anywhere long enough where it's barren and you don't really know what you're looking at when it comes to glacial features and stuff that maybe we don't, quickly recognize because we're not glaciologists. And because of pareidolia, our head starts to want to make sense of it. It can't handle the fact that there's this whole big white area on Google Earth and all these lines and shapes that it just can't compute. It doesn't like things it can't recognize. And I think a lot of the time, not all the time, but I think a lot of the time, stuff that people claim to be finding on the ice or on Antarctica via Google Earth, I don't know, it's a bit questionable. And These are the same people that would tell you all the time that Google are lying to you and hiding things anyway. So if there is anything to be found in Antarctica, wouldn't it make sense that they would hide it on Google Earth? The same as the same people tell us they hide everything else. I don't know. Whether we get to the bottom of the Antarctic mystery, I don't know. But I often think back to Operation High Jump. You know, Admiral Byrd, things like that when they went down there. What was it that they were so keen to send, like, task forces down to Antarctica after World War II? There's something going on down there. Definitely. We spoke to somebody on the show not long ago who had been in the Falklands. That's a stone's throw from the South Pole. Of course, he was down there for the Falklands War in the 80s. He was talking about South Thule, or South Thule, that island. That Thule, that has connotations and connections back to the bad guys in World War II. And why were they so keen to be building submarine bases and all the rest of it down in Antarctica? You know, the world was different in the past. And you're probably talking about a piece of land that might have been lush and green at one time. And if it was lush and green at one time, there might have been people living on it. What is beneath the ice? That's what makes it so bloody intriguing, right? That's what keeps people like me and people like you coming back for more, because we just want to learn. We just want some of these mysteries to be cleared up, whether we ever do or not. I don't know. I'm somewhat a bit pessimistic when it comes to us getting all of the answers that we're seeking. But the journey we're on, taking a look at some of this crazy stuff that goes on, I think it's second to none. And that's why I'm really, really looking forward to just over an hour from now, when I open up the phones on TFR and I give all of you great people your say on what's going on. I'm just one idiot in Scotland. I barely know what day of the week it is at the best of times. I ain't no expert in anything. But I've just got this thirst. I've just got this passion to learn more, to find out more about who we are, where we've been, where we're going, where we've come from in the past. And like I say, where we're going in the near and distant futures. It's a weird and wonderful world we live in, folks. It truly, truly is. I want to thank all of you for being here today. Let's go into the chat room. Let's see what people are saying in there. Yes, indeedy. Let's see. Greg says that's a big ice hole. Indeed. It's probably like Swiss cheese down there. There's probably bits of it you can't stand on because we've been drilling so many holes. Do you know what I mean? It's probably unsafe. Doppler in an enclosed space, ZX is saying. Tessa says, they say the tourist Antarctic trip is not a pleasant one. No, absolutely not. Some of the stretches of sea that you have to pass on the way there. I remember that from speaking to Brad Olson. He was telling me, you know, I nearly killed him. There was times when he was wanting to just tell the captain to turn back. You're talking about horrendous kind of waves and things. Lich says our brains are pattern based, looking for shapes. Yeah, I think so. What else we got in here? ZX says sound has to go up. Billy Joe, what on earth does a show about weird things? What on earth does a show about weird things found with satellites? That's probably worth checking out. Yeah, there's a lot to be. I think there's a lot to be found. You know, we talked about the Dead Sea Scrolls at the start of the show and how they've been able to uncover new words that were once hidden, and they're able to do it using different wavelengths of light and stuff like that. You know, that's where I think these satellites and things could come into their own. You know, looking at things through different lenses, different wavelengths, maybe they will be able to see some of the remnants, you know, some of the stuff that maybe we wouldn't see ourselves with our eyes on ground level. Very interesting. I'll need to check that out. Yep, Pedro, that's the map I couldn't remember. The Piri Reis map shows Antarctic continent ice-free. Bird's son released a secret diary of his before he was killed. It was very interesting what he said. Is there a copy of that anywhere? That'd be really interesting to check out. Yeah, I'd be really interested in that. satellites or satelloons. Michael, I hate to burst your balloon bubble, but as somebody that worked with satellites in the army, they're not. Susie says she's listening and lurking. Susie, you've turned into one of our #1 lurkers in the chat room. You really have. Let's see. You see, the whole thing, it gets a bit kind of unworkable when you go for the satelloons option. That means you've got literally hundreds of people putting together satellites built from components that are made by various companies around the world. And then all of it is just to deceive us people, us peons in the public. You know, if you're going to try and keep a secret like that, there's no way you're going to be able to keep everyone quiet. You know, people that spend their life designing satellites and things. I know you could probably counter that by saying that's all fake as well. But I really struggle to go there. I do. And I know people will say, but Kev, you've been programmed by the army. You were working on army satelloons. And there's no counter to that. There's no counter to that. But all I would say is, you know, if you're going to, you know, if there's a conspiracy to cover something up, you need to make sure that there's as few people as possible involved in it. And I say that because it only takes one person. You know, loose lips sink ships. The more people you have in on this giant conspiracy to fool the public that satellites are satelloons, at some point, somebody somewhere is going to catch on, and they're going to come out and they're saying, oh, look, you've all been lied to. And to my understanding, at this point, nobody's come out and said that from the world of satellites. And I get it. Again, I'll be told, but the world of satellites, they're all fakers, they're all liars. Well, I'm a liar too then, because I worked for years on a satellite detachment. So make of that what you will. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes today's little trip down the ancient ice holes, the Dead Sea Scrolls, Noah's Ark, the pyramid, and the plagues of locusts that are upon us. And we also threw in some sky trumpets along the way. Now, if I haven't given you something to think about today, then I can't be doing a good job. Doesn't mean you have to agree with me. But then I don't think I've made any bold claims apart from satellites being real. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the good part about this channel. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Just don't think that I am going to agree with you just for the sake of keeping you here on the channel. If I don't agree with you, I'm going to say. Doesn't mean I'm attacking you. Doesn't mean I'm saying you're silly. I'm just telling you why certain things for me that you suggest don't work. And that doesn't mean I'm right. Because like I keep on telling people, I'm more stupid than the day is long. You know, you could probably, if you had, I don't know, 50 pence in your pocket right now, you've probably got more of a score than my IQ. So don't trust anything I say. Don't believe a word I say. I'm the first to tell you I'm qualified in nothing. But hopefully it'll maybe prod one of yous out there to go further. And I know you people are way brighter than me in general, so you might be able to put together more pieces of these various puzzles that we come and talk about. So until later on, an hour from now, go figure, I'm going to love you, I'm going to leave you, I'm going to shove on some tunes, we're going to get out of here, and like I say, be back here in an hour's time, and we'll get into, well, whatever you want to get into when I open up the phones. Open lines on KBS. I love the phones. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo.